It's not something I widely publicise, but as a young lad, when my brother and I were boy sopranos in the church choir, I had a longing to run off and join the Vienna Sängerknaben, better known as the Vienna Boys Choir. I never quite made it there, but one of the shore excursions available to us during our time in Vienna was entitled Behind the Scenes at the Vienna Boys Choir. It was an opportunity too good to miss, to find out what might have been. But when the time came to make the bookings, it had mysteriously been labelled not available. It would be going a bit far to say I was devastated, but it felt like an opportunity lost. That afternoon, after a full morning walking the streets of Vienna, there was time to relax on board before our evening excursion to a Mozart and Strauss concert. The venue was the Vienna Concert Hall. Rather than the Great Hall or Mozart Hall, we were directed to the more modest Schubert Hall, described as a festive room, the ideal image of a musical salon with an elegant, light flair. Having become sceptical of the rapturous descriptions in the excursion brochure, our expectations of the evening's performance were low, but we were very pleasantly surprised. The orchestra clearly included quality musicians, and the presentation of the pieces was highly entertaining, and the few comedic sketches well done. The evening concluded with a scenic drive through an illuminated Vienna. Thursday, October 19, Day 13. Still in Vienna, and due to the unavailability of a visit to Sängerknaben HQ, we had chosen an excursion to Schönbrunn Palace. It was only as I was leafing through the current Viking daily that I noticed this. Why, I thought, would they promote this when the tour was not available? But in checking back to the front cover for our daily schedule, I was horrified to see this. But it was all too late. The opportunity had passed me by. So our visit to Schönbrunn Palace was something of an anticlimax for me. I must have passed through its grand halls and rooms in something of a daze, because I remember none of it. And I have nothing to jog my memory, because photography inside was banned. We wandered the manicured backyard without much interest. The scale was impressive, but there's only so many statues and fountains we could appreciate. After our morning at the palace, we had the afternoon free. From our berth on the Danube, we could see across to Donau City, or Vienna DC, a new part of Vienna and site of the Vienna International Centre, one of the major gatherings of United Nations officers in the world. With nothing better to do, we decided to head on over there. We used the Reichsbrücke to cross over the main Danube Channel and its new 21-kilometre companion channel, the Neue Donau. The Reichsbrücke is a major bridge used by 50,000 vehicles a day in 6 lanes, and with U-Bahn tracks beneath the road, 2 footpaths, 2 cycle paths and 2 utility tunnels. We tried to find a way in to see the UN officers, but the submachine gun toting Scot guarding the entrance politely made it clear that guided tours had finished for the day. After strolling the vicinity, we made our way back to the ship across a footbridge and through an arts and entertainment precinct on the strip of land between the old and new river channels. Awaiting us on our return to the ship was one last dose of bad news. Low water levels would impact us one final time. We were told that there was insufficient water to allow us to complete the journey to what was to be our final destination, Budapest. Early the next morning, the ship would stop at Komarom, as far upstream as it could go. It was around this time I realised that I just wanted to get off the ship altogether and get on with our post-cruise extension in Prague, where we would be able to digest experiences at our own pace. I'd had enough of the ongoing disappointments on the cruise, the regimented daily schedule, the excessive coach travel, and the unfulfilled expectations. Friday, October 20, Day 14. That day we were ferried by coach from the ship in Komarom to Budapest, a journey of about 80 minutes, for our full morning excursion around Hungary's capital. The extra transportation stage reduced the time available for experiencing Budapest. The glossy cruise brochures often include pictures like this, or this. A content, happy couple enjoying a glass of champagne on their stateroom balcony, whilst gazing across at the extraordinary Hungarian Parliament building, at the conclusion of their river journey through Europe. But circumstances dictated that we would not get that experience. This was as close as we would get. A brief glimpse from a moving coach on the other side of the river, sans champagne. Somehow, I felt robbed. As with many of the other shore excursions on our cruise, our coach tour of Budapest felt somewhat rushed. While we stopped to walk around the Heroes Square and go inside the inner city parish church, with ties to the composer Franz Liszt, We only saw from a distance icons such as the Hungarian State Opera and Buda Castle. So ultimately, we felt we'd only just scratched the surface of the Hungarian capital. Late that afternoon, we were transported back to the ship in Komarom for our overnight stay. Our final night on the vessel. Saturday, October 21. Day 15, Disembarkation Day. It was another early start to the day. Our grand European cruise was over. We had little time to reflect on this. We were expected to vacate our stateroom by 8 a.m. and be ready to board our coach for departure at 9 a.m. It was time to move on to the final phase of our time in Europe. To give us the opportunity to wind down a little before boarding a flight back to Australia, we had opted for a post-cruise extension package in nearby Prague. From Komarom, our coach backtracked towards Vienna before diverting north, skirting the border between Austria and Slovakia, and then northwest into the Czech Republic. It was close to a 5-hour drive. It gave us time to think about the bucket list item we'd just ticked off. I was certainly glad to be off the ship, but I can't be entirely negative about the journey. There's no question we saw some amazing places and had some great individual experiences. But in my mind, the overall experience was disappointing. I've mentioned before that perhaps it was naive of me to take the cruise promotional material at face value. But we've not travelled extensively on organised tours, so we didn't fully appreciate that our expectations might have been unrealistic. Also, for us, this was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and not one we will likely have the wherewithal to repeat. So, am I glad we did it? Unquestionably, yes. But I don't need to do it again, even if we could. We arrived at our inner city hotel mid-afternoon. It was conveniently located within easy walking distance of the attractions in the old town and around the Charles Bridge. We had organised to do a walking tour for the next morning, but we were eager to get a feel for the city. So in the fading light of a balmy late afternoon, we set out for an initial reconnaissance. Later that evening, we returned to the hotel for dinner. We were initially served by the restaurant manager, and soon learned not to call the Czech Republic Czechoslovakia.